If you were going to give like one piece of Kickstarter advice to a new creator looking to get on Kickstarter, what do you think that would be?
Oh wow. Okay. One that I might need a second for that.
I know
Cause
I'm sorry, we went from casual, easygoing conversation to let's get down to it, buddy. What's the question and answer time?
okay. First and foremost, the campaign page, right? It just needs to be. I think a lot of people, again, I can't think of any specific campaigns, but I've seen a lot of them that take so long to get to the point, or they don't really say too much about the book. They just kind of give broad strokes. Oh, it's a cyberpunk story featuring like kick-ass robots and stuff like that. It's like, yeah, but what's the story? You're not telling me like what's different about your book. What makes it stand out? Who are the people working on it? Like you have to sort of like pitch your book as if you're pitching it to a publisher and it's the last chance you'll ever get to pitch anything. Like just really like sell it, but don't oversell it. That's another bit of advice. Don't hype it up or be dishonest. Like I've seen comic Kickstarters where like, hey, this book is like, and they insert like 100 things in, like it's like, dude, there's no way it's going to be like all those things you've just listed. Like, don't bullshit me, because
It's like The Lion King and Blade Runner.
yeah, yeah, because if I back the book and I read it and it's not like those things, then I'm going to feel really annoyed that you've lied to me essentially to get my money. And it's like, I don't do that. The other thing as well is to be brutally honest about how much you need to make the book, because I know people who have lowballed their totals before because they didn't think they had the fan base or the reach to get enough people to hit the goal. If that's the case, if you're really worried about that, don't run your Kickstarter yet. Even if it takes a bit longer, self-finance more of the book first, so you have to ask for less. Again, you don't have to rush these things unless you've got a hard deadline from a publisher. There's no reason you should there's no reason you can't go, right, okay, I'm going to work for a bit more and save a bit more money and pay my artist to do more pages, so I have to ask for less up front. So there's a better chance I'm going to make my total. On the same thing though, like, I know other people who are like, oh, I've set my Kickstarter goal. I think it's quite reasonable, but I haven't factored in like shipping costs or printing costs. And I'm like, why haven't you done that? Oh, because I don't know how many copies we'll need to make. And I'm like, yeah, that's true, because you've not run the Kickstarter yet, right? You only know how many copies you need to make at the end, right? But you need to bake in some money, because otherwise, what if your campaign just barely makes it? Then you have to find like $1,000 to print it. It's like you need to start thinking about these things like taxes, the money it's going to cost to make your rewards and things like that. Like, people don't add all those things up because they don't want to set the target too high and make it harder to reach. But you have to be brutally honest about that target, I think.
Yeah, you have to do your research. You have to go through. I mean, even if like you're doing stickers or a bookmark, I mean, you have to get out there and go. I mean, they make it so easy. These different websites that print them. If you're going on an individual like type of a website, like a Sticker U, I think is one, or Sticker Mule, I think is the one I used last a year or two ago. But you throw in the quantity and you kind of gauge it out. You got to get a feel for it. I guess if it's like to your point, if it's your first campaign, people are up in the air of what to do. But I think you got to get a pen and paper out and just see how much it costs to print 100, see how much it costs to print 50, 200, and find a happy medium, and factor that into the end, to the number you're asking for.
Yeah, and so that's mega important, right? The other thing is like, it's almost like I have so many people that get in touch with me, right? Because I don't make any secret about the fact that I used to work in marketing, right? And I've done the whole hustle, that kind of thing. I get people getting in touch with me saying, my campaign's only got 3 days left and we're way under target. What can I do to turn it around? And I'm like, I have to be honest with them and say, I don't think you can at this point. Like, I'm really, like, I'm a lot kinder about it than that. I'm like, I don't think you can at this point, because I'm like, how much marketing did you do before you launched it? Oh, we didn't do any. We launched it, then we told people about it. I'm like, why no? Like, to use an example, like I think it was about almost like 6 months before Killtopia 1 launched, we were telling people about it. Because this, we introduced the IP, we introduced, like, we got it on people's radars, we were, slowly sort of dropping pages. We actually had a marketing plan written out. Okay, this month we're going to drop this page and we're going to drop this biography.
Did you do it on a weekly? So I'm very interested in that.
Yeah.
I was going to ask if you put it out 3 months, but you started Killtopia, the first one, 6 months out.
Yeah.
Was it like you just said, a monthly? So you had that plan monthly, or did you have little things weekly, maybe one big thing monthly, like little crumbs?
Do you know? I think it was monthly, like big things though, right? So like, here's like, because we had, like, for the first campaign we had Derek Robertson did a print for us, so like that was like, obviously, so we thought, like, what are the big announcements? So it's like, here's the cover, here's like the initial reveal of the characters, the very first time anyone's ever seen them, with biographies. Hey, now we're working with Derek Robertson. That's like amazing. But in between that, like, yeah, we just thought, okay, we're just gonna mine this whole thing for content. Like, okay, so we did posts for what can we do? We did posts about my influences. Like, I did about 5 or 6 about different things that influenced me, like video games, manga, anime, like just to let people know kind of who I am and kind of what I'm into, and like, and people have gone, oh yeah, you're really into Akira and stuff, so I'm going to check out your book because I'm into Akira as well. That kind of thing gives people something familiar to latch onto.
Yeah, you're kind of promoting yourself a little bit on top of the project.
And that's the important thing, right? Because, like, with Kickstarter, people, you are almost, I mean, you're not as important as the thing you're trying to fund, but you are an important part of the product, to use another manager kind of term. But people aren't just backing you, right, for the product you're going to give them. They're backing you because they like you and they like what you're coming up with, and they like something about what it is you're trying to create. And that's why, like, you need to, like, again, not like oversell yourself, but that's why Kickstarter videos are important, because they can put a face to the project, right? They can hear you in your own words talk passionately about what you're creating, and you're pitching to, like, them why they should back it, why you think they're going to like it and stuff. So that's why, like, all these posts, it was like, hey, here's the team and here's what we all like, and we're just like you, we're into all these things that influenced our comic. And I guess the ultimate point where what I'm kind of driving at is that Kickstarter, it's rare in that it's like, it gives you a direct line to your fan base that very few other platforms give you. You can do backer updates that show you, like, show them the comic being made over time. Rare behind the scenes looks. People love that kind of stuff from what we've seen. They love to see, like, script to page or, like, work in progress art to see how, like, a character evolved over time. You can speak directly and transparently to your fan base, and that's a wonderful thing. So embrace that. Do loads of updates. Get a marketing plan in place before your Kickstarter comes, because otherwise, how are they going to know it's coming? When you think as well how many projects are on Kickstarter at any one time, they're all competing for people's attention and money, right? It's like you need to stand out more and think of creative ways of how you can do that. So yeah, definitely get a marketing plan in place, I think I'd say that's probably the biggest thing. If I had to boil it down, that's the biggest bit of advice for Kickstarter. Think about how you're going to let people know it's coming.
That's awesome. I think that goes even if you're not kickstarting. I think if you're doing any, if you have a publisher who's going to put out your book, figuring out that sweet spot of when you start hyping it up, to lead to the dates where folks have to order it from their local shops. But yeah, marketing and just the overall hat that we wear of, being businessmen, or the business side of the thing, right? Marketing is just huge. I mean, I try to do, especially with the channel now, I'm doing more, and during Kickstarter campaigns, you're always doing a lot. But even out of season, when you're not pushing something, staying out there and maybe putting some posts like once a week. I used to try and put on maybe a work in progress image, or a shot of me, or a shot of a handwritten piece of a script, or just things that keep, I guess to your point, that keep showing folks that are watching that you are truly a creator and you're still out there trying to do work on the next thing and keep things going, showing your influences. staying on that goddamn social media train and just hyping your shit.